beginning of the drama, we are shown a girl who is standing in a state of shock and says that she cannot believe that her life has ended today, and she is seeing all the memories of her life around her that she has lived and says, "But how did I die?" And when she concentrates a little and remembers, she finds out that she was at a party where she realized that her husband was having an affair with a girl named Michelle. When Tang Ta Tang, who is this girl who has died, goes to that girl Michelle and tries to confirm whether it is true that you and my husband are attached to each other in some other relationship, on which the girl pretends to fall there and poses as if Tang is trying to kill her. Then Tang Tang's husband, who is Fuking, comes there and instead of knowing the truth from Tang Tang, goes to Michelle and picks her up. When Tang Tang tries to explain to Fukengjo that I was just talking to him because I don't want to end this relationship, I felt deep inside that once the talk is done, Fukengjo ignores her and follows them. Fukengjo throws the divorce papers on her face and says, "Sign these and get out of my house." Tang Tang says, "But how is this possible?" She goes after him, then Fukengjo pushes her and says, "From today onwards you will not keep any relation with my house and me," and Tang Tang falls on the table kept nearby, and her head breaks, and she dies on the spot. Now it is clear from all these things that here the fault was of Fukengjo and Michelle, who treated Tang Tang badly, and they are justifying cheating in the name of business deal. And now, in the present, we see that Tang Tang is thinking about all this, and says, "I remember I was cheated," and we see that she starts reading a novel standing there in which it is written that when things are not in your hand, you should let them go. Tang Tang gets inspired by this, and with this she closes her eyes, and we see that she is rewarded and reaches the same party again where she did all this with Michelle. She is surprised and says, "What happened?" Again, she realizes that fate has given her another chance to set things right, and she gets ready, and in that party she sees Michelle and Fukengjo standing far away talking to each other, and instead of getting jealous, here, Tang Tang makes a plan in her mind that she will get out of the trap-filled relationship and live a good life, and she becomes very happy and starts imagining, and she decides that she will give a proper path to Fukengjo and Michelle, where they can talk to each other and get married to each other. Tang Tang here goes straight to Michelle because the only thing going on in her mind is that after leaving Fukengjo, she will go out with many boys and enjoy her life, which she was not getting with Fukengjo, and we see that she is going straight to him. Then her friend stops her and tells her that you see how big a cheater your husband turned out to be. He was not ashamed at all. He brought his girlfriend to this party, and he has no idea that you are there. Tang Tang says, "But I don't care about all these things. Anyway, he can do whatever he wants to do." Meanwhile, Fuking arrives there and Michelle also comes with him. As soon as Fuking comes, he speaks to her in a very rude manner. "What are you doing here?" Tang Tang says, "Nothing. I came for some entertainment, and how are you both? I was leaving from here. I saw you both looking very good. Did you feel bad about this?" Fuking says, "Stop playing these useless tricks and go from here." Tang Tang says, "I promise I will not create any problem, and I want you both to talk to each other very nicely and get married." On which Fuking says it would be better if you leave from here, and saying this he leaves. And after that we see that she goes to Michelle. "Hello, how are you? I know you love my husband very much, and I just want to give you tricks on how you can get close to him and make him yours." Michelle says, "Do you really have no problem with our relationship?" Tang Tang says, "What problem would I have if two lovers are meeting together?" To which Michelle says, "Are you testing me?" Tang says, "Not at all. I will give you his number. He will help you." And here both of them exchange numbers, and Tang Tang also pays for Michelle's mother's medical expenses. Now here she is slowly winning Michelle's trust and saying that, "Let me make one thing clear. My husband should not know about all these things, otherwise things will get worse, because he does not like all this." To which Michelle says that I will not let him know anything at all. Tang Tang says, "I trust you, and anyway, I know how impossible it is to stay so far away from your lover, and now I am helping you, so you will always have to be grateful to me." Michelle says yes and gives a slight push to Tung Tung, and she moves forward. But then we see that her friend comes there and pushes her, on which Michelle is about to fall in front of Tang Tang, but Tang Tang holds her, on which Michelle thanks her. But then, Tang Tang's foot slips from the stairs and she falls down with Michelle. Then her friend comes there. She lifts her up and says, "Your plan worked. Now I know what to do." And she starts shouting in front of everyone. "Fu Qingzhou, where are you? Look at this rude girl. She was trying to respect your wife and how she pushed Tang Tang down the stairs. She did not even realize that she is your wife." Now a drama is going on in front of all the guests. Tang Tang tries to stop her friend because a new plan is going on in her mind, and she did not want Fu Qingzhou to take her home quietly because of the drama here. Tang Tang says, "I am fine," and she tells Fu Qingzhou that I can go home. And Fu Qingzhou tells her that it's enough, you keep doing some new scandal every day, I can't handle all this. Tang Tang says, "I just want you to divorce me," to which Fu Qingzhou says, "Yes, of course," and here Fu Qingzhou says that I never wanted to marry you anyway. It was you who wanted to marry into my family at any cost. You think that by doing this you will get my attention, but I won't get it. After that, we see that Fu Qingzhou leaves Michelle and walks away from there in front of Tang Tang. Now Tang Tang is sitting inside the car and here she is telling her best friend that you should not do this. Your husband is so handsome. If you treat him like this, he will think of you as a monkey and says, I don't want anything from him. Anyway, the planning going on in my mind has something else to do with it, and we have nothing to do with it. I want him to marry Michelle and get rid of me. Her friend gets happy. The next scene we see that Fu Qingzhou goes to his office, and he sees Tang Tang standing next to Michelle in his office and doing her makeup. Fu Qingzhou says, "What is happening?" Actually, Michelle was feeling very sick in the morning, so the freckles on her face had appeared, so I thought I should touch her up a little because it is also important for handsome boys to see how beautiful Michelle is. And here we see that Fu Qingzhou tells her to get out of my office, to which Tang Tang says, "But I have not done Michelle's hair yet." And here she is saying this to Michelle. Fu Qingzhou comes and says, "What are you trying to do?" To which Tang Tang says, "Hey, I just tried to give her a little touch up." "She is your assistant, right?" Fu Qingzhou says, "Shut the fuck up and go from here." Tang Tang says, "I know she is a very good girl and that is why you like her." And then she starts packing her things. Fu Kongo says, "You are forcing me too much to marry her. But you know that I am already married to you, so stop your nonsense." And he grabs Tang Tang by the throat. Tang Tang throws him down and tells him to remember this shot of mine before touching me again, and also remember how much pain you must have felt after this. And she quickly packs her things and leaves from there, and Fu Chang is saying that for the first time Tang has tried to raise his hand on her. Here we see that as soon as Tang Tang comes out of the company, the people of the company come to Tang and they start talking to him. And she is telling him that if you want to be more successful in the future, then you should join this company. Instead of working, you should get more education so that even bigger companies hire you. What kind of a wife is she who is bent upon bringing her husband's business into loss? Now we see the next scene where Tang Tang says that she had lost a USB drive in her previous life, and this time she will not do it. She will fix things and leave from here. And here we see the office scene, where Fu Qingzhou's assistant comes to him and gives him a divorce paper and says that Madam has sent it. Madam is behaving very strangely these days. Fu Qingzhou says, "Baba, I don't know what has happened to this girl." And here he says that your wife has done so much shopping that the limit of your black card has ended. Fu Qingzhou says that she has gone mad. What is she doing? I am not able to understand. Here we see Tang Tang, who is walking, and she feels a little tired, so she takes off her clothes and quietly goes inside and sleeps on the sofa. Then Fu Qingzhou comes there, and he sees that she is sleeping alone and mosquitoes are biting her feet. On this, Fu Qingzhou feels that Tang Tang is working too hard to get his attention, and he says that now no matter how much you work hard, you will not get the result. But then he goes and picks up her clothes and puts them on her because he feels that Tang Tang will get bitten by mosquitoes, and he says, "I am not worried about you at all. I am just worried that if you get sick, then you will make the whole house a mess," and after that he tries to leave from there. But Tang Tang looks so beautiful while sleeping that he comes close to her to kiss her, and he even kisses her and says that there was a mosquito sitting on your face. To which Tang Tang says that it was a very bad idea. What you were doing was very bad. To which Fu Kangyo says, who told you to sleep in the hall? Why can't you sleep inside the room? Tang Tang says, you woke me up. Anyway, I was going to sleep after saying me too, and here we see the next scene where Fu Kangyo goes to his room and sleeps, and Tang secretly comes inside the room and she sees that there is no one else in her bedroom, and she thinks that Fu Kangyo has gone to some other room, and she quickly sends a message to Michelle from Fu Kangyo's phone that I want to meet you, Carl, and I am telling you all these things in advance, so that my wife does not come to know, and you are very beautiful. By then, Fu Kangyo comes inside and says that, actually I had forgotten my phone in this room, so how do I know where your phone is? Fu Kangyo goes to her and gently makes her fall on the bed and says, my phone was behind you and I had seen this thing. Tang Tang finds this moment very awkward. On which she pushes Fu Kangyo and says, I am telling you, don't try to do this to me again. You will get killed for no reason. Fu Kangyo looks at her and says, this girl is becoming crazy day by day. Tang Tang says, stay in your limits and don't go out of it. And she quietly sleeps on the bed and throws a pillow on Fu Kangyo's face and says, if you have to sleep in this bedroom, then you will have to sleep on the floor, and Fu Kangyo sleeps on the floor in that bedroom without saying anything. The next day's scene is shown where Tang Tang sees Fu Kangyo and Michelle going to the restaurant, and here she is watching them secretly and saying that maybe her plan has worked. Here Fu Kangyo is with Michelle, and Michelle is talking to him and saying that I am very happy that you invited me here for dinner, and here we see Tang Tang, who after seeing them both together sits in the car and puts her hand on her heart and says that finally the day has come when she will have to leave Fu Kangyo. Her planning is getting successful. Now she will have to give herself some courage. Here Michelle tries to tell something to Fu Kangyo and she is talking to him when suddenly Fu Kangyo gets a call from someone and he tells her that he has seen Tang Tang drinking in the club and he is very drunk. Fu Kangyo here apologizes to Michelle and says that we will go to some other good place for dinner next time. But right now my wife needs me because there is a big emergency here, and he apologizes and leaves from there. Michelle gets very sad, and here we see a man wearing a mask taking photos of both of them. But he has not revealed his face here, and he is saying that maybe a new twist is going to come in the story, and that is why the story is going like this, and he clicks their photos and leaves from there. Here we see Tang Tang, who is in the club, and she has also called her best friend for her safety. Her friend tells her that you know how unsafe this place is. Why have you called me? On which Tang Tang says, because I have seen this place in a strange way, and today we will entertain ourselves. No one is going to stop us, and she starts getting happy, and here we see that she calls many male models there with whom she is drinking, dancing and enjoying her party. Her best friend is also busy doing all this. Here Michelle, sitting at the dinner table, is unable to bear the shock that Fu Kangyo left her midway for his wife. What does all this mean? Because Tang Tang was saying that nothing happened between her and Fu Kangyo, and how can Fu Kangyo tolerate all this when he suddenly leaves her here? Here Tang Tang is enjoying herself with her friend. Then one of the male models blindfolds Tang Tang and tells her that she will have to follow him. As soon as Fu Kangyo reaches there, all the male models run away from there. Even Tang Tang's friend also runs away from there. Fu Kangyo picks her up in his arms. Tang Tang, who is drunk, does not know who is picking her up and taking her away. Tang Tang tries to fight. She says, whoever you are, please put me down. On which Fu Kangyo brings her inside the bedroom and removes the blindfold from Tang Tang's eyes. Tang Tang says, you look exactly like my husband. Similarly, he has a mole on his cheek too. On which Fu Kangyo says, if you open your eyes and see, you will know that I am your husband. On which Tang Tang says, it is a very good joke. Fu Kangyo says, who told you to come here, and why do you think that I don't like you? At such opportunities are available sometimes, and she slowly starts removing her clothes too. Fu Kangyo tells her to just remember that if you regret tomorrow, the blame should not come on me, To which Tung Tung says that you worry too much and you talk too much. Talk less, and here Wafu ties Qingzhou's hands and slowly romance is generated between them and they have close moments. The next day when Tang Tang opens her eyes, she finds herself on the bed and her head is spinning because she is having a hangover from last night. She is thinking how she came inside the room because Fu Qingzhou had helped her here. But she does not remember anything. She just remembers that a male model had asked her to blindfold him. And then she remembers that last night she was with him and no one else, and she gets shocked at this thing and she starts slapping herself and says, "Brother, this should not have happened. All this is hallucination." Now she goes to the dining table feeling shy. Fu Chengzhou is sitting in front of her. Fu Chengzhou is telling her that what happened yesterday was not embarrassing. It is normal for such things to happen between couples. Tang Tang says, "Can we take a divorce?" To which Fu Chengzhou says, "What are you saying?" Tang Tang says, "I feel like I will start hating you more and more every day. That's why now I want to take a divorce and right now I am not even able to stand." Fu Chengzhou stands up in shock and says, "Do you think this marriage etc. is a joke?" And Tang Tang says, "It is not a joke. Anyway, there is nothing special between us." Fu Qingzhou leaves from there in anger. Tang Tang says, "What did I say now that this man got angry and left from here?" And when she says that maybe Fu Qingzhou got convinced by her words, and this is the chance to get her to sign the divorce papers, so she makes a new plan and starts going somewhere by jumping over the wall of her house. Here we see Yako, who comes to Fu Qingzhou in his office and says that we could not spend time together yesterday, so I have booked a new spot tonight, but Fu Qingzhou does not listen to her completely. Then he gets a call from someone who tells him that Madame has run away from home again, and this time she has not gone from the door of the house but by jumping over the back wall, on which Fu Chengzhou says that this girl has made me sad. Michelle. And he apologizes to Michelle and says, "I will talk to you later." Okay. And here we see Tang Tang, who jumps over the wall and comes straight to Fu Qingzhou's office, and after coming there, she sends the new project made by Michelle to another company and also records it in her laptop. Here Fu Qingzhou is going to search for Tang Tang. By then Tang Tang comes in front of her and Michelle is also there. He asks Fu Qingzhou, "What are you doing here?" Tang Tang says, "I came to meet you." Fu Qingzhou says, "How did this miracle happen? Because we had a fight in the morning." Michelle finds her laptop open. She goes inside and checks it and says, "I have not completed the project you gave me, and I have not given it to another company. Some stupid person supplied it to another company." Tang Tang gets scared and starts leaving. Fu Qingzhou calls her and asks her, "Did you do all this?" Tang is scared and Michelle feels that today the game of arrangement will be saved. But then Fu Qingzhou gets a call from her company's manager, and he says, "Can we take this business deal forward? We have seen the report of your project." On this, Fu Qingzhou becomes a little happy that even though she tried to do something bad, it was good for the company. And here he tells Tang Tang to leave. Tang Tang says, "Thank God he did not get angry with me, but he should have got angry. This is the reason I would give why I just want a divorce." Now here we see that she is leaving. On the way she sees some people playing the violin. Everyone is watching him and she goes to him and gives him some money and asks him, "Can I save him?" On this the man says, "Yes, of course you can save him." Tang Tang starts saving that violin, and with this we are shown a very cute scene which is of Tang Tang and Fu Qingzhou's childhood, where Tang Tang is playing the violin in a park in her childhood, and then a very cute beautiful child comes to her and says that you play the violin very well. Tang Tang says, "Yes, because my dream is to become a ballet woman when I grow up and go to big concerts and do stage shows." On which the boy says only the best to her and says that you will see that when you grow up you will become a ballet master. You will also teach ballet to people and people will take inspiration from you. And here we see that the same beat is playing on the ballet. Here Fu Qingzhou and Michelle are coming together and then he hears the beat of the ballet on which he starts going straight towards it. Michelle tells him that we have a business deal, and Fu Qingzhou says we will talk about it later, and he goes into the crowd and he sees Tang Tang saving him and he says, "So he knew how to save you." Tang Tang says, "Maybe you have some misunderstanding." Fu Qingzhou says, "But why are you saying this?" He said, "Arranged." Anyway, you are not affected by my action, so stop making a scene here and go. On this, Michelle comes in between them and says, "You are misunderstanding, sir. I care about you too much." The crowd is watching all this. Then a boy comes out of the crowd who is Tang Tatang's childhood friend, and on seeing Tang Tatang here, he says, "Actually, I was standing here because I thought my date wants to bring me here, and here she tells the man to handle the matter because this is a very urgent situation, and she leaves with that man." Fukingjo comes to Gadosa and he calls his assistant and says to investigate on my madame that where my wife goes with whom during the day and night, and here we see that Tang Tang comes to a bridge with that man, and she tells the man that you are very nice and you are also handsome. Will you go on a date with me? She arranges it. Actually, I am married and that boy was my husband and I just wanted to get away from him a little. That's why I took your support, Michelle. I don't have any problem. To which the boy says, "Okay, if you need me in the future, you can let me know." Now, we see the next scene, where we come to know that the boy whom Tang Tang was roaming around with yesterday, calling him her date, is from a very rich family. On this, Fukingjo is surprised, and he gets angry at Tang Tang that what is this girl trying to do? Here we are shown the scene of Fukingjo's house, where Fukingjo's entire family is sitting, and here Fukingjo's mother's aunt and other relatives are inciting his mother against Tang Tang and are saying, "It is very shameful that he has married a girl below his standard. He has brought disgrace to the entire family." To which Fukingjo's mom says, "You guys are absolutely right. She should not have married him. Anyway, I don't like her at all. She sits at home all day, doesn't do any work, and she is saying all this in a sarcastic way. After that, she calls Tung and says, "Tung, come here. Come here. Take this black card and this money and go from here. Give divorce to An Fuqing." She wanted to show here that no matter how much money is given to Tung, she will never leave her husband. As soon as Tung sees the black card, she becomes very happy and says, "Mother-in-law, you turned out to be a very good person. No one in this house ever thought about me in any way. You have given me so much money in one go. The amount I did not take from Fukingjo in the years of marriage. I am ready. Tell me when I have to divorce your son, but do not regret all these things. Are you ready?" On which she looks at Tung and signals that do not talk like this. And here Tung is thinking in her mind that I have to go anyway. Whether someone sends me from here or not, it does not matter to me. Here we see that Fukingjo's aunt starts saying, "I had already told you that this girl is very greedy. See how she melted after giving money. And anyway, I thought that Fukingjo's cousin needs a second-hand wife anyway, so Tung Tung can do this work for him." And here we are shown Fukingjo's cousin who is mentally disturbed and is mad. He is reacting like a small mad child. Here Tang Tang says, "But do you think anyone will marry your mad son? And anyway, it is better not to get a girl married than to spoil her life." And here she feels very bad about this. She says, "I cannot climb all these things without a rope. And for your son, the rope should be his brain. And your son is already tied with a rope." On which she is surprised that what nonsense is she talking about. Again and again, her brain is being indicated with a rope, and here that mad boy also disrespects Tang and says, "How dare you call my mom? I will not leave you." On which Tang Tang says, "Well, what will you do with me?" And here the scene changes. We see that Fu Qingzhou is coming home, and he finds the maid outside. She goes and tells him that your relatives have come inside the house, and all of them are harassing Tang Tatang madam. Fu Qingzhou panics and runs inside worried about Tang Tatang. But the scene inside is something else. Tang Tang has taught that woman a lesson and is making her son write sorry 1,000 times. She is sitting on top of him and his son is crying and writing sorry. Now here Fu Qingzhou is watching and saying what is going on which his aunt comes close to him and says, "What kind of a girl have you married? I don't even know how to handle her. Look how much she has tried to disrespect me and my son." And here she tells Fu Qingzhou that you leave her. "I will make a decision for you." On which Tang Tang says, "First let me get his work done. His homework is that he will say sorry to me 1,000 times." On which Fu Chengzhu tells her to get off that child. Tung Tung, he must be suffocating. He will die. Tung Tang says okay and gets up. Her aunt takes the child and starts leaving from there. Here Fu Chengzhu is about to lash out at her when her mother comes in front of him. She comes and says, "What are you doing? Why are you scolding my daughter-in-law? There was nothing wrong in this." Those people were judging Tang Tang again and again in the name of money. So it is her duty to teach them a lesson because she is your wife. Why do people think that Tang Tang is short of money? And anyway, I cannot get a better daughter-in-law than Tang Tang. Tang Tang says, "What are they talking about?" Because her planning is something else. Here her mother-in-law says, "I do not want you to ever divorce Fu Kangzhou or leave her because there cannot be a better daughter-in-law than you in this world." And here Tang Tang is surprised because her planning is something else. And here her mother-in-law has changed the whole atmosphere. She tells a million bad things in herself, but her mother-in-law does not see any shortcomings in Tang Tang. She says, "There cannot be anyone better than you in this world. Why do you put yourself down so much?" To which Tung Tung says, "I did not know that people of today can be so obsessed with me." Now Fu Qingzhou says, "Enough of this drama, and what will you do with so much money?" To which her mother helps that she will do shopping for herself. And she also takes out many cards from Fu Qingzhou's pocket and gives them to her and says, "All this money is yours." And now Tang Tang starts leaving from there, teasing Fu Qingzhou because Fu Qing knows where Tang is going to use this money. She will use this money in the club to go and hire male models so that she can get herself entertained, and Fu Qingzhou does not like all these things. Now here we see that as soon as Tang gets free from there, Fu Qingzhou pulls her back, due to which she is about to fall, and she comes close to Fu Qingzhou. On which Tang Tang hits Fu Shango very hard and runs away from there and says, "If he tries to touch me again, I will make his condition worse than this," and she proudly leaves from there. Now the next scene is shown of the company where Fu Qingzhou is working, and he sees that Tang is very angry. So he asks his assistant that if a girl is angry, then what should be done with her? How should she be pacified? On which his assistant says, by giving them some gift. On which Fu Qingzhou says then, "What gift do girls like?" The assistant says, "How would I know this? I am a boy myself." On which Fu Qingzhou says, "You are of no use." The assistant says, "But for whom do you want to buy a gift?" Fu Qingzhou says, "This is not your concern." By then Michelle is called there. Michelle says, "Fu Qingzhou, were you missing me?" On which Fu Qingzhou says, "Yes, I was missing you a little. How are you?" On which Michelle says, "I am absolutely fine." On which Fu Qingzhou tells her that actually I wanted to ask you some questions. Michelle says, "What kind of question?" Fu Qingzhou says, "What gifts should be given to girls? What do they like when they are even a little angry?" On which Michelle thinks that Fu Qingzhou is asking about her. So she quickly tells that flowers should always be given to girls. They are very romantic. On which Fu Qingzhou agrees with her. Now here we see that Michelle roams around the whole day in happiness that Fu Qingzhou is going to buy a gift for her. And in the next scene, she also hears people in the company talking that the boss has been going to a flower shop since morning, and he is very tense that if the girl does not like the gift he has brought for her, then what will be her reaction? Here we see Michelle going to the lift, and then she finds Fu Qingzhou there, who has a bouquet of flowers in his hand, and he brings the bouquet and gives it to Michelle. Michelle thinks that this bouquet has been given to her by Fu Qingzhou, and she remains happy in the lift throughout the way. As soon as Fu Qingzhou reaches the ground floor, he takes the bouquet from Michelle's hand and goes away from there, and Michelle gets angry at this, and she says, "So this means all this was not for me." And here we see Fu Qingzhou going inside the house, and he goes and keeps those flowers in Tang Tang's room, and he starts waiting for Tang Tang to come, and the next morning when he comes to the room, he sees that Tang Tang has received those flowers. Tang Tang smells those flowers. But we see that the expressions on her face are not different. She has the same simple face. Here Fu Qingzhou comes inside the room to check them, where Tang Tang has torn the petal of every flower brought by her. And then her cook comes there and tells her that the cake you had asked her to make every day is ready. Tang Tang tells the cook and says that there can be nothing more delicious and better than this in the world. Fu Qingzhou gets very upset here. Tang Tang also offers food to Fu Qingzhou. But Fu Qingzhou says, I did not know that you like all this, and he leaves from there in anger. Here we see that Tung Tung has not spoiled all the flowers. She has also kept some flowers safely and has kept them near her bed so that she can sleep well at night, and after that she messages and calls someone, and here she gets a call that your husband is going to the room with someone. On which Tung Tung first says, should I feel bad? Then she laughs and says, this is my plan. I will catch Fu Qingzhou naked and portray him as if he has cheated on me live, and nothing can be better than this for me. And now we are shown the hotel room scene where Tung Tung is standing far away and watching all this. And here Fu Qingzhou is talking to the receptionist, where the receptionist tells them that there is only one room in their hotel, where they and Michelle will have to adjust in the same room. She cannot do anything about it. On which Fu Qingzhou is insisting that she should be given 2 master bedrooms. Tung is standing far away and watching all this. She feels that her plan will work, because she has made this plan with the same receptionist that she will tell such a lie when Fu Qingzhou comes. And then suddenly Fu Qingzhou's eyes fall on her, and Fu Qingzhou goes to see her and says, what are you doing here? And here it seems that Tang Tang is spying on her, and here Tang Tang says, actually, I was looking at the flowers. I thought let's see for a while whether the flowers here are natural or have they been planted just like that. It was a very good excuse, but this will not work. And Fu Qingzhou looks at the one. Fu Qingzhou says, come inside. Tang Tang says, but what will I do by going inside? And Fu Qingzhou forcibly takes her with him and says, now we need 3 master bedrooms. On which the receptionist starts saying on seeing Tang Tang that no bedroom is vacant. Only 1 bedroom is vacant. On which Fu Qingzhou says, okay fine. Can you wait for 2 bedrooms? Now that girl is looking at Tang Tang here. She seeks support from Tang Tang and she says yes. And in the next scene, we see Tang Tang and Michelle sleeping in the same bedroom, and Fu Qingzhou is in the other bedroom and says, what kind of days have come in life where I am sleeping with my husband's girlfriend? Nothing can be worse than this for me. Here Michelle is looking at Tang Tang and Tang Tang says to her, do you really love my husband? Michelle, of course. Then she also asks the same question. Do you really love Fu Qingzhou? Tang Tang says, I just want to get rid of him. I don't know when this will work because something or the other keeps happening every day. To which she says, you go to sleep. I have to go out for some work, and we see that she picks up her sandals and tries to sneak out. But as soon as she closes the door, she collides with Fu Qingzhou from behind. Fu Qingzhou says, you cannot go anywhere by fooling my eyes. Tang Tang says, but I had to go out for a walk. Fu Qingzhou tells him to come here and brings him inside. And the next scene is shown where they are in a roadside area. Now Tang Tang has to make him drink. So what does she do? She mixes a lot of alcohol in Fu Qingzhou's glass, thinking that she will take him to Michelle's bedroom in a drunken state. And when something happens between them, she will make an excuse that she divorced Fu Qingzhou because of this. Here Fu Qingzhou becomes very unconscious after drinking just 1 peg. Tang Tang understands that Fu Qingzhou is not alcohol friendly at all. She gets into a problem, and here Fu Qingzhou is behaving like a child, on which Tang Tang tells him that let us take you to your real hideout, and she starts taking him to Michelle. Now here we are shown the hotel room scene where Tung Tung alone is not even able to handle Fu Qingzhou, and Fu Qingzhou is repeatedly trying to touch her. He asks, where are you going? Tang Tang pushes her to the side of the room, but Fu Qingzhou pushes her into his room. Now, Tang Tang and Fu Qingzhou are on the same bed and they don't know what is going to happen to them. Here Tang is looking at Fu Qingzhou. Fu Qingzhou is in a drunken state. Tang Tang doesn't understand. The next morning scene is shown where Tang opens her eyes. Fu Qingzhou is lying beside her, and she feels that something has happened between them and she starts getting nervous. But then she remembers that everything is normal, and she starts coming out from there, and when she comes to the other room, Michelle is still sleeping and she goes and lies on her bed, and here Michelle gets angry because she is just pretending to be sleeping and says, how can a person change suddenly 2 minutes ago, she was getting me married to her husband, and now she herself is coming from his bedroom. What should I understand by all this? Is she trying to play with my emotions? Now we see the next scene where Tung Tung says that now I should leave, and then there we see that she has called the boy Michelle, whom she met that day at the violin time, and she is talking to the boy. Here we see Fu Kangjo, who is in a business meeting with Michelle, and as he comes out of the room, she says to Tung Tung, "What do you have to do with all this?" And we see that the man is keeping his hand on Tang Tang's waist. Fu Kangjo is jealous of all this because he does not like all this, and here Fu Kangjo tells him to take his hand off my wife's waist. On which the boy says to Tang, "I feel that your husband does not like you very much. Look, he is standing very quietly." On this, Fu Kangjo gets angry and says, "You come to me, I will give you as much money as you want, and I will give you so much that you will never be able to count them." Tang Tang says that this is just a misunderstanding. But then a light bulb lights up in her mind and she thinks how to take advantage of this. And she directly catches hold of that man and says, "Can only you make your girlfriend at this age? Anyway, he is much more handsome than you. He also has more money than you." On which Fu Kangjo gets angry. Tang Tang says, "Now you don't feel like signing the divorce papers." On this, Fu Kangjo gets even more angry and signs the divorce papers that are in his pocket and throws them on Tang Tang's face. And Michelle becomes so happy with this that her happiness knows no bounds. Tang is happy and so is the man. Along with this, the twist in the story, the detective who has put a mask on his face. He has put up a lot of photos of them in a room, and he is saying that the fun in the story is going to come further, and it seems that he is a very serial killer and is putting up photos of these two here and there and saying that the story is going so perfect, isn't it? Here we go to Michelle, who comes to Fu Kangjo and asks him, "Can we go to the other side and take a stroll?" To which Fu Kangjo says, "You were going to talk to me, right?" Tang Tang says, "I was going to tell you this." Then someone calls Fu Kangjo, who tells him that I have seen your wife again in the club, and she is very drunk. Here we see Tung Tung, who is with her friend and says, "Today I am divorced. Now my husband has nothing to do with me. You are understanding this, right? This is such a big thing. Finally I got rid of that rude and cheap man, Michelle." On which now her friend explains to her that who forced you to do all this? You should not have done this. To which Tung Tung says, "I hate men very much and I cannot live with him." And here she hugs her friend and falls asleep on her as soon as she hugs her. Here we see Fu Kangjo, who is repeatedly checking the time at night, and he is missing Tung. Here we see that while he is having breakfast, the roses kept in Tung's room come out from near him, and here Fu Kangjo says that he did not waste all the roses. He kept some. "I thought that he made a cake out of all the roses, Michelle." On which his mother smiles and says that, "I know you are missing her a lot, and I know what I have to do now." Here we see Tang, who has come to a party again with her friend. Her friend asks her, "When you are divorced from Fu Changzhou, then what are you doing here?" Tang Taotang says, "Actually my mother-in-law has always been very good to me, and if she had not come to give me the invitation personally, then I would not have come to this place. She has given me a personal invitation." On this, her friend says, "You know your husband wants to get rid of you." Tang Tatang says, "I don't even care in any way. A lot must have happened between him and Michelle, and maybe now they are going to have children too." Then she turns back. She sees Fu Changzhou there and she starts feeling a little shy and moves forward, hiding her face. Then Fu Changzhou's mom comes to her and says, "Come on the stage. I have to give you something." She comes on stage and announces in front of everyone and says, "This girl you are seeing here on stage is my son's wife, and from today, I am going to give a very precious gift to my family." And here Fu Kangjo is shocked as to what she is going to do. And here we see that she also says that some time ago when my son was very ill, she was the one who saved him, and that is why I am very grateful to her. Here everyone is surprised. Tang Tang is also surprised, and she is wondering why everything is going so strange. Then her mother puts that bracelet on her hand and becomes happy. But then Michelle enters there and she says that all this is a lie. This girl never saved Fukingjo. I saved Fukingjo and this is not a lie. On which Tang Tang is no longer ready to give an explanation here, and she says that whatever Michelle is saying is a truth. There is absolutely no lie in this. And here people are standing and saying if this is true then what is the lie? Tung Tung says I know everyone must be thinking how did things change so suddenly. But this is the truth, and she gets down from the stage and starts leaving. On which her mother-in-law stops her and says no matter what the truth is, it cannot be as good as you. So, I don't know how good you are, you have given us so much. Here Michelle is now saying if this is the truth, then why am I not leaving from here? Here Fukingjo says to her what do you want? What do you want to show me now? On which Tung Tung starts removing that bracelet from her hand, but it is not coming off. Here Fukingjo's mother is feeling bad about everything. Here Michelle comes to Fukingjo and says, can I marry you? Now I can become your wife because I saved you. On this Fukingjo's mom says, do you think our family is some vegetable market that you bring a person and leave him in 2 minutes? So I don't know how Tang Tang is and how good she is. Fu Chanzhou also says, I love her very much. I can't live without her. Tang Tang has come inside the room. She has changed her clothes. Michelle is there and she is packing. Fukingjo is also keeping his clothes in between her clothes and is saying to Tang Tang, why are you being stubborn like a primary school child? You know you can't come with me. Nothing can happen between us. On this Tang Tang says, stop making a scene and go from here. Fu Chanzhou says, okay, if that is the case, then these earrings and this jewelry you are wearing, all of it is mine. Return it too. Tang Tang takes off everything one by one in her hand. When she takes off the bracelet, her foot slips. Fu Qingzhou pulls her close and says, I want you to stay here even now. Tang Tang says stop talking nonsense. You know nothing can happen between me and you, and she takes the bag and starts coming out of the house, and she takes a sigh of relief. But she feels bad because she was in a relationship with Fu Qingzhou for so many years. And now suddenly this marriage relationship of hers has ended. She looks at every corner of the house, and after this we are shown the next scene where Fu Qingzhou is there and his assistant is saying to him, boss, you are looking very upset for some days, to which Fu Qingzhou says that after his departure everything seems deserted, and now we can meet him only in the marriage bureau where I've to give confirmation of divorce, to which his assistant says, hey boss, if you don't do this, what will happen? On which Fu Qingzhou gets into a tizzy. Here we see Tang, who is going to the marriage bureau in a cab, and she is telling the cab driver to drive a little slow. And when the driver drives slow, she sees that the people riding bicycles near him are also driving at a better speed than her. On which Tang Tang says, what are you trying to do? You know, I have to go very quickly. My lawyer must be waiting for me. On which the cab driver says, excuse me, but the president has told me to drive close to his car. On which Tang Tang understands that Fu Qingzhou is behind, and what does she do? She asks the driver to stop the car and goes straight, and sits in Fu Qingzhou's car and tells him, now this car should not stop anywhere. Go quietly to the marriage bureau. Now we are shown the scene of the marriage bureau, where Fu Qingzhou and Tang Tang are in front of each other, but they are ignoring each other. Tang Tang says that today you will see how much more eliminated I am than you. Fu Qingzhou says that you are anyway made to be robbed. To which Tang Tang looks at him angrily. Now, the assistant in the marriage bureau says that, after all, you people have to start the divorce procedure from today. Do you want to decide the elimination or not? To which Tang Tang says that I have already decided. To which the assistant says that you need some time period so that you can fix this marriage. To which Fu Qingzhou says yes, but Tang Tang refuses, and because of her one-side decision this divorce scene gets put on hold for 2 minutes, to which Tang Tang gets angry, and she says that Fu Qingzhou always wanted to do all this, and she leaves from there in anger. When she comes out, we see that she meets the same man with whom she has pretended to go on a date so many times, and that man comes and tells her that I came to know that you are going to get divorced, so will you go out on a date with me? On which Fu Qingzhou comes and says that you probably do not remember the punch of the day, that is why you have come to eat one more day's meal. Tang Tang comes here with Fu Qingzhou, and we see that Michelle is also in the car with her, who is feeling very bad after hearing all this, and she is saying that Fu Qingzhou, I do not understand, and she is so important for you that you are not able to see anyone else except her. Now we are shown the next scene where Tang Tang has gone shopping with Fu Qingzhou. Here Fu Qingzhou is getting a lot of friendship clothes for Tang Tang. Tang Tang is also doing a lot of shopping, and Fu Qingzhou is telling her that you can say whatever you want. Tang Tang is shopping here, and Fu Qingzhou's assistant is carrying all her stuff. Here Tang Tang feels hot on the way, so Fu Qingzhou also fans her with a machine fan, and after that he takes her out. Tang Tang says that it has become very dark now. You can go to your house. Fu Qingzhou says I cannot go home. On which Tang Tang says why? On which he tells that because his mother has said that if he comes home without Tang Tang, then his entry in the house is closed. On which Tang Tang is surprised. Fu Qingzhou calls his mother, and his mother is shouting on his phone call and saying that you are very dirty. You threw my daughter-in-law out of the house, and how did you take the decision of divorce from each other without discussing with me? Michelle, I will not leave you. Tang Tang says what should we do now? You stay in a hotel. Fu Qingzhou says but I cannot stay alone. Tang Tang says I will help you in this work, but no girl will come to this house. Fu Qingzhou agrees to her, and Sapna takes her home. At night Tang Tang is getting ready, and she comes to know through her friend that a violent competition is going to be held in this city within a few days. And she gets very excited on hearing the name of the competition, and she tells her friend that I want to participate in that competition. On which her friend says that is why I have told you to keep your preparations complete. Here we see Fu Qingzhou, who is waiting for Tang to come. He is repeatedly applying perfume on his clothes and stands with a rose in his mouth. Then Tang Tang comes there. Fu Chang gives the flower in his hand to Tang Tang. Tang Tang is happy with the flower. Fu Qingzhou tells him that maybe Tang Tang has fallen for his words. But then Tang Tang catches his hand and throws him back. Fu Changjiang is shocked and kicks him twice and throws him out of the room and says that if you do this again, I can even tear your head. Now we are shown the scene of the next morning where Tang Tang wakes up and Fu Changjiang is having breakfast. Tang Tang asks if everything is fine and if you don't need anything else. Fu Changjiang says that everything is fine. Here we see that Tang Tang is going to practice with her violin. Then Michelle comes in front of her with a sad face. Tang Tang does not talk much to Tang Tang. But from Michelle's expression, it seems that she still hates him a lot. Here we see Tang Tang's friend who is helping her. And then it is revealed that someone has spread rumors about Tang Tang and Fu Qingzhou's divorce all over the country. And this is what is happening here. Fu Qingzhou is also getting continuous calls, and the media is calling Fu Qingzhou to confront all these things, and these people go in front of the media where Fu Qingzhou is handling this matter. Here we see the man who is repeatedly pitching Tang Tang to go on a date with him. But Tang Tang does not listen to him and considers staying with Fu Qingzhou as her confirmation, and here the man's heart is broken. In the next scene we see that Fu Qingzhou announces in front of the entire media that he loves his wife very much, and he will never divorce her no matter what happens. And here we see that Tang Tang hears this. Michelle also gets to know about this through the internet, and she gets very frustrated. She says, I don't understand. Tang is so important to Fu Qingzhou that he is not able to see anyone else except her. Here we see the next scene where Tang cooks for Fu Qingzhou. Fu Qingzhou is surprised that how did this miracle happen today? Now, these people are sitting and eating and talking to each other, and here we are shown the same psycho man, and that man is saying that if Tang Tang does not listen to people, then something bad will happen to her, and he knows what he has to do now to Tang Tang and Fu Qingzhou away. Here Tang Tang is going to violin practice again. Fu Qingzhou is forcing her that it is not safe to go out alone. He will go to drop her, and Tang Tang says that she is not a milk-drinking child. She can go, and she is not listening to Fu Qingzhou, and she tells Fu Qingzhou not to try to follow me, and is going for her practice comfortably. And then that psycho man is following Tang, and here Tang is going ahead in her fun. She does not have any idea Fu Chang, who is watching all this from a distance, comes to know about all these things. Here Tang Tang reaches the day of her competition. where today she is wearing a lovely gown. Here Fu Kangjo is also excited to go to Tang Tang's competition day, and then he interacts with that psycho man. He attacks Fu Kangjo. Fu Kangjo fights with him, but that man hypnotizes him. Here inside, Tang Tang is playing the violin, and she sees that Fu Kangjo is sitting with Michelle and is obeying everything, and Tang Tang does not understand what is happening, and Fu Kangjo is behaving very strangely here. He tells Tang that the person I love in this world is Michelle, and Michelle is happy to hear all this. Tang Tang is heartbroken, and her friend says to him, "How many times will you betray my friend?" But Fu Kangjo is not listening to her. On the contrary, he pushes her, and in anger, Tang slaps Fu Kangjo and gives him the family bracelet that she took out from her hand, and says that from today onwards there will be no connection between me and you. Then the next scene is shown where the psycho is sitting and watching and saying that now the story is becoming interesting. Now I am enjoying. I do not enjoy anything until there is a twist in the stories. Here we see the next scene where Tang is drinking with her friend. Her friend gets so drunk that she is unable to handle her and is ready to take her home. But she starts crying a lot while sitting in the car. And here the driver tells him that no matter what has happened, one should never lose courage. Here we see the next scene where Fu Kangjo is still with Michelle. Here Tang is shown who is at home. He has a dream that in his past life he had tried to attack Michelle. Even though he did not intend to do so, someone had hypnotized him. Who was that person? All these things give a link that something must have happened to Fu Kangjo. Here we see Fu Kangjo, who calls his assistant in his office and tells him to plan his date with Michelle. The assistant is also shocked to know what happened to the boss suddenly. Here they go and tell everything to Fu Kangjo's mother, and Fu Kangjo's mother says that she will not leave Fu Kangjo today no matter what happens. Here Tang sits back emotionally remembering all the moments. Here Michelle is enjoying her date moments with Fu Kangjo. Then we see Tang who comes to her house after meeting Fu Kangjo's mom and makes a sketch of the man she saw in her dream. Then she finds a video where Fu Kangjo is attacked by that man, and she understands that something is wrong, and she packs her violent and starts to leave. Then she finds a violent in Fu Kangjo's room too, and she understands that something is going on between Fu Kangjo and her for a long time, which Fu Kangjo always wanted to tell her. Maybe this is the reason why Fu Kangjo has not been able to leave her till date. Here we see Tang who goes to the office and meets Michelle there. Michelle says, "I feel very bad that all the power that you used to have is gone from your hands." Tang says, "Enjoy the happiness for a few moments. Later she will have to come to me," on which Michelle makes a face and goes away. Here we see the next scene where Tang has to go to a violin competition again, and there she plays the same beat which Fu Kangjo always likes. Due to which Fu Kangjo, who is hypnotized, his hypnosis ends, and he asks Michelle to go away from him, and once again Michelle loses. Fu Kangjo gets up and goes straight to Tang, but Tang has already left from there. He asks her friend, but she says that she has already left from there, on which he apologizes to everyone. Here we see that the psycho man has hypnotized Michelle too, by controlling the cab driver, and he is about to cause an accident for Fu Kangjo today. But all these things are not possible because by then Fu Kangjo saves them. He apologizes to Tang and says, "I will never treat you like this. You will always be in my heart." The next scene we see is that Fu Kangjo's assistant goes and tells all these things to his mother. She becomes happy and says, "I knew that these two can never stay apart from each other. This is just their drama of 2 days." Then they come to know that those people are going to come to meet them. On the other side, that man and Michelle, whose planning has failed, are thinking what to do now because the planning is over, on which now they promise to work on a new plan. Here Fu Kangjo and Tang are shown who are together. Then they get a call from their mother-in-law, who wanted to meet them, and there she acts as if she is suffering from some serious illness, and she gets all these things made up by her servants. Here we see Tang who comes to know that her mother-in-law is ill. She just wanted to meet her, and she tries to go with her along with Fu Kangjo. Here we see that Fu Kangjo's mother is eating cake at first, And as soon as she comes to know that Fukangjo and Tang Tang have come there, she starts acting as if she is ill and says that your leaving this house has given me so much trauma that I am not able to recover till now. I do not understand what to do. On which Fukangjo says, Mom, there is cake on your face and this drama of theirs here is over. And she says, let them do the drama for a little while more. Tang's concern is not seen every day. On which Tang Tang says, was it really a drama? On which she says, yes, I had to do all this to bring you both closer. And here she says to Fu Chanzhou that now this company of yours, which I have made in your name, if you want it to remain with you, then you will have to agree to everything I say. On which now she locks Tang and Fukangjo inside a room and says, so much time for marriage, it is done. I want a grandson. Tang lies to her that she is really pregnant. Fukangjo is surprised and he thinks that Tang Tang has handled the situation. To which her mother says that we have called the doctor. You don't worry. Now Tang Tang gets nervous. Fukangjo says that if you have made a mess then you clean it up. Tang Tang gets nervous. Just then the doctor comes there. The doctor comes and checks up and tells that she is really pregnant. Fukangjo says, but how can this be possible? Then he remembers that something like this happened between them a month ago. Here Tang Tatang still does not remember anything because she is drunk that night, and she calls her friend and says that a big emergency has come up. You have to help me. Her friend says to her, what? And she goes to the club with only love. She calls all the male models there. She starts checking them one by one and says, maybe none of them is him. I will have to see who the man was. Then Fukangjo comes there, who has come to know that Tang Tang has gone to see all this, and then she checks Fukangjo. Fukangjo picks her up and brings her to him, and after that, we can see in the bedroom that a close moment happens between them, and she realizes that the child in her womb is hers and Fukangjo's. In the next morning scene, it is shown that now everything has become normal between them. Tang Tang is happy with Fukangjo, and they are also enjoying quality time. They start living like a couple. Here we see Tang, who says goodbye to Fukangjo to go to the office. Then she opens the door again and someone hypnotizes her and kidnaps her. Fu Qingzhou comes to know about all this. He goes to the prison with his assistant to save Tang, and there he sees that the man has tied Tang to a chair after making her unconscious. Michelle is also there. He hypnotizes both of them and now he is getting them married. Tang Tang is in a lot of pain. She is shouting to come to her senses. But Fu Chanzhou is not able to hear anything. After that he gives a knife to Fu Qingzhou to kill Tang Tang. Tang Tang now sees that Fu Qingzhou is about to attack her. But then Fu Qingzhou suddenly starts laughing and says that it is a lot of drama. To which he says that I had regained consciousness a long time ago, and he beats the man badly. Here he realizes that his hypnotism trick has failed, and these people say, are we a fictional couple? Nothing can happen to us. You can do anything. And here their planning ends. Now after this the scene changes. We are shown the next scene where these two are getting married and they are together. Michelle and that man have also started their new life. With this the drama has a happy ending.